What would you like to do?
Did we search them for anything? I know I took their implements of totems and stuff, but
You did not.
Okay, well, let's search then. I will search him.
Give me an investigation check, please. It's pretty easy for you, Fenthwick. It's not so much searching a pocket for you as almost looking into a very large...
Going splunking. Open up the pocket. I'll be back in 5.
But you find various large chunks of dried meat. A few of them have pelts on them as well. They have throwing spears with them. They tended to use large boulders when assailing you all. Fenthwick, you do notice that on one of the giant's weapons, there's a bit of frozen water on the end of it. And only that one giant had it, and you're trying to think why that might be. And then you remember the ice cracking beneath your feet. And it's the middle of winter, the ice shouldn't be that weak at this time. You think they might have had a hand in that little trap they had set. You also do find what appears to be a rolled up piece of hide.
Well, unroll it.
Yeah, it does appear to be crudely attempt at making parchment with animal hide. And there are large, messily written runes on it. What languages do you speak?
Well, I do not speak giant. I speak Gnomish, Infernal, and Sylvan in common.
Okay. So you do not understand what it says.
Who speaks giant?
Hal raises his hand. I
Hey,
speak
whoa, Poppy, you can probably read this, right?
Yeah, I could try, but I mean, I just heard, Hal says he speaks giant.
Okay, Hal, what does this say?
It says,
By the order of Queen Baxia, all hunting parties are to immediately cease any hunts and focus all attention on the lowlanders. We will make them pay for their arrogance in thinking they can enslave the citizens of Trelleborg. We are still the rulers of these lands.
the giants have lived out here for years. Naturally, hunting parties will do what they do out in the Northlands here, but it would take a mighty foe or a mighty being to enslave giants and have them bend their knee to our whim. I'm curious of why this has come about.
Is that what the giants were on about when they were attacking us?
Oh yeah, they said all of this stuff here.
What's a lowlander?
And Hal glances to each person. People who don't live in the highlands.
So you're not. So you're a Highlander.
Not necessarily.
Yeah, you would know the giants how refer to the lowlanders as any smaller folk that live beneath them.
Yeah.
Oh, so you guys would count too.
Yeah, it's interesting. If there's nothing else, we should get a move on. We should find out what's happening. It's going to take us a little while to get through the tunnels below the fortress.
I don't think that's very fair. Would say vertically challenged.
Oh, I think you're head and shoulders above the rest of us. Do you want to jump on? Can continue on. I know the snow gets pretty deep around the mountain. Poppy up on his shoulders to make sure that trapped too far beneath loose snow.
I will say also, Fenthwick, you do find some large silver. They're almost ingots, not coins. Probably coins for giants. Probably worth at least 600 silver.
We'll throw them in the bag of holding, and
I will put that down in the party funds.
And a large...
Are they like frisbees?
Yeah. Pretty much. Almost the size of frisbees, but they're a little, not quite as round. You do find also a large drinking horn that is corked. And when I say large, it's probably like the size of Poppy.
I don't know how we're gonna get this in the bag.
Drink it now.
You pop the cork and see what's in it.
yeah, good idea.
Who's trying it? Fenthwick, if you're doing it, I need an athletics check, please.
Athletics?
Pop the cork, I assume. Not
Oh, to
drink.
pop. To pop. Yeah, I'm kind of like that's an odd thing for drinking wine. Athletics to pop a cork. Yeah, well, I'm not very good at this, but we'll see. Well, it's not too bad.
Okay, not bad. It takes you a bit of effort, but you are able to kind of get the lid covering off of this large drinking horn, and I'm gonna need a Constitution saving throw.
Oh, immediately before he even drinks it?
Yeah, just smelling it, you need a Constitution saving throw. Nope, probably not.
Unfortunately, the fumes immediately hit you, Fenwick. It's probably the most alcoholic thing you have ever encountered in your entire life, and you are considered poisoned at the moment.
Oh, great.
Don't get too close, Fezziwick. Oh, man. Hey, Bobby, that stuff's pretty strong. Hope he's going to be all right.
It might make a good marinade.
Well, that is a good point. Let me see if I can carry it. How heavy or big is it?
It's about as big as Poppy.
Fenwick recorks it. Al's going to try to carry it. I mean, maybe we can use it to thin some of the snow that we use to dig out during the night. Maybe this will make it easier. Maybe it'll just melt it away because of how strong this stuff is. I mean, you okay, Fenwick?
I am not okay.
Maybe we should just call him Sir Marinade.
Just smelling that stuff is bad enough. I don't even want to think about drinking it.
The one time we don't have a paladin, I have two things that can help us on our journey. I could either cast Pass Without a Trace, so we don't get more wolf friends in the middle of the night, or anyone else following us, or I can cast Water Walk, which would actually help us so we could travel quicker, because we'd be on top of the snow instead of traveling through it. And because of that, I don't think we'd be leaving tracks.
Is that an either or both?
I guess I could do both.
That would probably be beneficial. I mean, at least until we get into the caves where there's no snow.
First things first, Fenwick, do you want to not be poisoned right now?
That would probably be good, yes.
I cast Lesser Restoration.
And as you feel Belladin's hand on your shoulder, Fenwick, you feel your head clear. You take a deep breath of the crisp, cold air.
Everyone keep an eye out for about 10 minutes.
Ooh, ha, ooh, ha. Timing dances, that's what I think.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to take your snowshoes off to do this properly, Belladin. You were all used to this site, but it's a bit interesting this time because as Belladin starts, he's about, almost, halfway to knee height in snow when he starts, as he's trudging along. And then it goes on, 5 minutes pass, and as he's nearing, you see him start actually, it's almost like there's stairs, and he's stepping up higher and higher onto the snow until when he finishes, he's standing completely on top of the snowbank.
Oh, well, that took a while, but all of you should be able to just take a step up right now and go from sinking to on top like this. Alright, luckily this one won't take 10 minutes, because it's from the staff, and it's at will. We should have a very easy time traveling it, well, better than it was, and we shouldn't be followed, hopefully, by our traps.
Will there be more dangers ahead like this, Hal? As Marisol turns to you.
I think this should help us. What Belladin has done should help us avoid any of it, but these are the frozen outlands. This is what life is like out here. Away from the fortress or the cities. It's survival of the fittest. I'll protect you better than I have.
I trust you.
Belladin, can you ask if Corvain will keep an eye on Marisol in case we run into any other giants or orcs or anything? He seems to move he seems to move pretty fast, and now that he can walk on top of the snow, maybe like when you get surrounded, don't cast a spell, move away. Not sure if she speaks.
Saying Corvain could just pick her up and run away with her?
Hal glances at Corvain's biceps. Not sure, but he moves fastest.
In 0 chance not picking her up, but he will take on that challenge if Hal asks him to.
When Belladin translates for Corvain, he specifically calls Marisol Hal's beloved. If you could make sure she doesn't get surrounded and beaten down like she did the other day. Since you can move so quickly, if anything happens, you have the best chance of protecting her out of all of us.
And by the way, everyone except understands that except for Hal, because everyone can understand Sylvan except for Hal.
Hal smiling, like,
Even Marisol? We taught Marisol Sylvan just so we could speak without Hal?
Yeah, yes, even Madison. No, she does not speak Sylvan. The four of you can understand.
shall we carry on?
And you continue on your journey until once again, night turns into day. Hal, you're able to use the strong, distilled frost giant mead to clear away the snow easily and make a pretty solid embankment as Fenthwick puts up the dome. And you all take watches, and your night goes without incident. You know what, Hal?
Yes, my love.
I'm feeling better this morning. This whole adventuring is new to me, but with you at my side protecting me, I feel stronger, more confident.
Oh, so you're getting your snow legs, as it were.
Maybe. Who knows? I might be a watcher yet.
That would be something to see. I can't wait to take you. I can't wait for us to get to the fortress. You'd be surprised at the diverse nature and peoples there. I think you'll find you really enjoy it.
Anyone else like to do anything this morning? Someone roll me a d20, please. And you journey on, and the sky is clear. The sun shining, giving a semblance of warmth, if not actual warmth here in the tundra. Today, more than the past few days with the battles and the snowstorm, the beauty of this land, the twinkling ice and snow, almost seems like a sea of stars in the daytime. And with Belladin, spell of water walking, you seem to be covering more ground at a faster rate than previously. And once again, day turns into night. You make your camp, the dome goes up, and you find yourselves asleep, taking your various watches. You find yourself dreaming of a myriad of images, large, dancing stone spires, being trapped with no hope of escape, almost buried alive, and you hear a small, impish laugh echoing in the distance. When you find yourself once again surrounded by a sea, until suddenly torch light surrounds you, and you find yourself in a familiar place, an arena floor, although one you've never seen in waking life, and a robed figure stands in front of you, gleaming scales glittering in the torchlight, as once again you find yourself face to face, first Fang of the Northern Dragonflight.
Ah, not you again.
Not happy to see me, young Master Rivenstone.
Well, I was sleeping. I mean, you don't call, you don't knock. You just barge right in.
My ability to perform proper social rituals and manners seems to be lacking, as I lack a physical body.
Well, I see that could be quite I suppose a drawback.
Yes, I'm sure you'll find the same when you go to your final sleep as well. How long has it been since our last meeting, there in the waking world?
I'd have to consult my journal, but it's been a while. How can I help you today?
You'd remember, Fenthwick, that you first had this vision, this encounter, when you were back in Duneshire.
Yeah, at least a few weeks.
It has been, well, I can't count the eons since I have had contact with the mortal world.
And why is that? Sorry, I've never been undead. We're disembodied. I don't know the rules. So.
Undead. I'm not sure if you can call myself an undead. I'm not sure if I am the actual spirit of Terisu or merely his essence and power captured and brought forth by the power of the staff. But I am here. I have my memories and I can think, so does it really matter?
Suppose not.
My apologies, I did not interrupt your precious slumber for questions of philosophy. Last we met, I was a bit put out, let's just say, to see my staff being wielded by another, and issued a challenge quite abruptly.
Yes, you did. You did seem to have difficulty of letting go.
A trait of many of my people. But I sense potential in you, young Master Ravenstone, and an eagerness, an ambition. What would you say if we came to an agreement?
Well, it would depend on the agreement.
Be a mutual exchanging of knowledge, possibly of assistance, if we get to that. I sense this would not be the first such chain put upon you.
You've been digging around in my memory?
I have little else to do,
Hmm.
Mr. Ravenstone. You do not need to answer now. I understand your apprehension. I have not met one of your folk, and I presume you have not met one of mine either. So I propose this. As a show of good faith, we each ask each other one question, and the other will give an answer as best they can.
Do we have to do it now? I'm not sure what I would ask you.
Preferably, my hold on your consciousness is tenable at best.
Does it have to be a specific question? Because I know so little about you, I suppose, is the issue.
And you, or your world, I'm assuming, which is must imagine is so very different from my own when I left.
I'm assuming that is true. You know, I tried to look you up, and I could find no record of you.
No record.
Not in the place I studied, but it was a large institution with a lot of stored knowledge. I was surprised that they had not, if not heard of you, but not even of your whole organization here. I could find no reference, which would indicate a long period of time separates us.
My people do not keep record of their history in the waking world.
Like I said, I've never encountered one of yours before. If you still exist in my world, I have no knowledge of you.
And you see him take a clawed hand to his mouth and ponder for a moment. I do not see how this could be possible.
Like I said, it's been a long time. Maybe your people just moved on to other places.
What would you ask of me? As I said, this is merely a showing of good faith between the both of us for you to ponder this agreement. There will be more to come if you agree.
Well, this is a getting to know you conversation. I suppose I would say, I'm not sure how to phrase this. What's I'm seeking to understand you. So what's your essence? What makes you tick? What's that one thing that, man, what gets you out of bed in the morning?
As first Fang of the North Dragonflight, I was in charge of the safekeeping of all of the arcane and magical knowledge of my clan to serve the great powers of our world and to guard against those who would seek to usurp them.
So you're all about service.
I'm not sure how it is in your time and world now, young Master Ravenstone, but I had found that dedicating a life to service can be more fulfilling than seeking any riches or power.
Okay, well that tells me something.
Would you allow me a question? I know technically I have asked of my people already, but
Sure, shoot.
what of the children of Asil? Where do they stand in your world? Do they know have you not heard of them as well?
The elves, well, yeah, we call them by different terms now, but they're still around.
So they have not
They're
returned to their home.
their home. I'm not sure where that would be, but I mean, I certainly know surface-dwelling elves. They're not as in the ascendancy anymore. Humans seem to have displaced them a bit, but they're certainly not unknown.
Well, that is at least something to think about.
What's so funny? Did I say something funny?
No, ironic. Displacers being displaced.
Well, you know, the worm turns. That is sort of the nature of things.
I will ponder this information, as I hope you do yours. Till next we meet, young Master Ravenstone. And I hope my staff serves you well, and you are able to
Would have been nice if you hadn't cursed it.
Would have been nice if it hadn't been taken from me while being slain.
But you see, I didn't take it away from me by slaying you.
As I said, ponder my proposal. There may be many benefits from our exchange of knowledge.
Oh, well, I look forward to our next meeting.
And then you see him with your staff, technically his staff, in his hand, as he's had it anytime you've come into these visions, and he on this arena ground, and you find yourself coming awake to consciousness. Belladin, I need you to make a Constitution saving throw for me, please.
I felt like I was totally left field. Like I was just hanging out, listening to this story, and now I need to make a save. Not too bad. 18.
18, not bad. You take 8 points of necrotic damage as a searing pain comes from a certain covered part on your body. The same moment you hear Fenthwick rustling.
Okay. Okay, I know what that is now. Oh, all right. Well, that's fucked up. Okay. Thank you for the damage.
Fenthwick, you awaken, and you can feel it's time almost to re-up the dome before the morning comes, and you do so. Eventually, the sun rises for you all, and you all get another long rest. Belladin, the damage happens after your long rest.
Okay. So I wake up with a nice surprise.
The day is yours again. Hal, you would know that with 2 days of water walking, being able to walk as normally you would on, regular ground on top of the snow, that you've probably made up that lost day from the blizzard.
Nice. Couple days out. Oh man, this gets really beautiful as you go north. I mean, maybe I think Marisol probably needs to meet the people once she gets there, and camaraderie amongst the females. Maybe, and he points to his adventuring party. Maybe we can go visit if war isn't raging around us and giants aren't attacking. Maybe we can visit the Watchers. They're not this mountain range, but the next one, the foothills. You can't miss them. They're amazing. You could probably see them from both the Morteborg if there aren't any storms out. We should get moving. Let's go.
Give me a d20, please.
I'll do it if nobody wants to do it. Yep. Let's go, Poppy. Let's go.
Another clear, if still cold, day of travel as the mountain ranges loom closer and closer. The anxious energy in you is building as you're about probably only 2 days out now.
Just a couple days. Weather holds. We should make it at least to the entrance to the tunnels. Getting through the tunnels is a whole nother story, but it's not a bridge. It's kind of underground. We'll venture through the underground when we...
And I'll say you can just give me 2 more d20s for these next 2 days.
1.
Oh, I thought it was for different people. Sorry.
No, there you go. There's your 2 of them.
Roll me a d10, Poppy, for the last day. So I'll say that 3 was already rolled. I'll say that once again, the skies darken on the last day, and you find yourselves having to shelter in place once more, as another snowstorm has cost you 1 more day of travel.
Not unheard of. We'll just wait this one out.
But eventually it passes, and you continue on until Hal, you see the large boulders among the foothills that mark the entrance to the caves that will lead you to Vokmungsborg.
I think Hal looks towards the boulders. There's kind of a smirk on his face, like he's close to home and he can feel the smile. And then his smirk turns to a solemn look as he unshields he pulls his shield from his back and he throws it on, and the hammer comes down to his hand, and he says, "We're close. Be on the lookout."
On the lookout for what?
Things we could see in the dark. Where we're going is hidden, and we've created this maze of tunnels underneath the mountains. The obvious ways are the ways that typically trapped, or they have creatures that have made their homes there. Again, it's under the mountain, very similar to the Under the Mountains, and he points south. People and beings and creatures make their home areas under the mountain in the darkness. Need to make sure we follow the correct path through the mountains. That doesn't mean there's not going to be any trouble, but I would say expect trouble more than expect a nice walk through the evening. Not that the walk from all the way down there has been easy. So, we ready?
Let's go. Marisol doesn't take your arm as you have your shield and hammer out, but positions herself near you, cautiously looking about, eyeing the boulders suspiciously. And Hal, you know that as natural as they may look, most of these boulders were placed there by your people to prevent any sort of charge by any armies that might assault one of the entrance caves, break it up into smaller, more manageable battles. As you make your way to the entrance, all is quiet, except for the wind blowing the snow and ice on the tundra. You enter the caves.
I think Hal stands at the entrance as his party goes through. Each person passes by, kind of takes in what the emotions that show on their faces, and as Belladin walks by, Hal kind of reaches out and touches his shoulder and gives him a nod, almost a familiar thought, thinking about his uncle. And as the rest of the party enters, he'll look far to the south to the mountain range sitting there, knowing how long they've come and how lucky they've been to cross the tundra in the middle of winter, and turn forward, and he'll reach for his pendant and he'll say the magic word, command word, as the gem grows bright once again and he steps into the darkness with his friends.
You find yourself once more underground, but there's no longer that fear of the unknown for you, Hal. For although it has been some time since you spent any significant amount of time, you grew up traversing these tunnels, and you lead your party further back through the cave system, and in the corner of one such, there's a little jutting out of a boulder, almost imperceptible unless you know to look for it, and a small opening, only that will allow you to go single file. And Hal leads you through these underground. Still, while the White Dagger Mountains were warm as you got further down, these remain icy and cold, as they seem to have more openings out into the frozen tundra above. Leads you along a path a little more difficult and strenuous. You have to climb in places where much easier paths are laid ahead of you. Some seem almost marked, and reason shouts to you almost that you should go that way, until you reach what appears to be a dead end. And Marisol looks around confused. I don't see anywhere else to go.
It's not the obvious way. You have to do some climbing, and you see if there's people find this place and they lay siege to it. We want to make sure that they're out in the open and they have a difficult time of traversing this area. So, brought a climber's kit, and Belladin there can fly. Most people can't fly out here, except for...
And you lead them up, Hal, higher into this little cave through the dead end, and you all see Hal walk through what appears to be solid stone. Guess that's a neat trick.
If someone else doesn't want to climb, I can carry somebody. Technically, I'm gonna change it to an ice spider.
Yeah, I'm not great at climbing things.
Okay. Just I don't know if you want to tie yourself to me or just hold on, but ice spider, here it comes.
Now I'll just hang on to the ice spider. Sure.
And Marisol looks back and kind of gives a shock of fright at first. Rushes towards you, Hal, and a spider has Ventwick.
Don't worry. Could be worse. Could be a badger.
Hal laughs at that comment. You remember Belladin's white beard? And Hal will point to like an area of specific, a patch on maybe his chest, the ice spider's chest, that is of the same visible or visual appearance of his beard. Like if you squint your eyes, that's Belladin.
Yeah, it says here in the information, the ice spiders have red eyes and white fur covering their bodies.
Marisol gives a shudder. I suppose it's useful, but I prefer you in your regular form, Belladin.
Yeah, I don't want to hazard a guess of what it actually looks like as I change back from an ice spider into a a normal person, but I would ferry anybody else up who doesn't want to make the climb and then switch back. It's not pleasant, Marisol, but climbing isn't something a lot of people can do, so I'm just happy that I can perform a service. I was about to change it into the Badger, but then I realized the climb is one of the defensible things about this place, so I wouldn't want to damage the walls.
Oh, I wasn't suggesting the badger. I was just saying, spider's hardly the most horrifying thing I've ever seen you become.
It's true. You see, Marisol, appearances have afforded you many different opportunities. Some make it easier to climb, others make it easier to lose one's heart to. It'll give her a little bit of a smile and a quick peck on the cheek. Let's go, we're close.
All right. You continue on until once again you all feel icy, fresh air of the tundra blow down. And as the light starts to hurt your eyes as you come out into an opening, Bulletin, you hear as something thuds at your feet, and you hear a shout. Halt, knaves! I know not how you came to this place, but we accept no strangers in the Borg. Turn back, now.
I think we would all just turn to Hal, like, hey man, this is your deal.
I think Hal would hand his shield to the closest person and his hammer on the right to the next person, and step forward and pull the hood of his cloak down a little bit when his hands out a little bit wide, and say something akin to, but what if one calls this place home?
And give me history or insight, Hal, your choice.
Let's do insight. I'll re-roll that using luck. A little better. That's a 10.
10 was just enough.
All right.
It wasn't a hard DC, so I sent you a message.
Sagoon, don't you recognize a brother from the north? I know it has been some time. Bring friends, powerful friends, and maybe a princess. But most of all, bring good tidings from the south.
Boreas's frozen beard. Hal, is that you?
I know it's been some time and I've lost a little weight. Well, to be fair, I've lost a lot of weight. And it's good to be home. Come say hello. Let me introduce you to my friends, and
You vouch for these strangers, then?
this one here, the red hair with the streak, the bravest young lass you'd ever meet. She would give our boys hell out here in battle, fleet of foot. One with a hat, with the glasses on his hat, can rival any of the mages we've seen from Trelleborg or any of the frost giants. Wields magic like you would never imagine. And the slight one here, Corvain, the one shivering, yes, I know he has a jacket, but yeah, he's cold too. Comes from a more temperate area. Doesn't really understand what the hell we're talking about, but he fights like a demon and runs just as fast. And he pauses before he talks about Belladin, kind of letting Sigan talk about, or at least see his appearance. A smaller version of almost looking exactly like his uncle. Belladin here, and Hal changes to giant. Says he comes from the south, but I think he was sent here for other reasons, and I don't believe him. They could be siblings, even. Is Ormir, is he here or available? It's been some time.
You bring these companions at an opportune time, Haliantar. Things are dire here in the north. Your uncle is in council. They have been for these past few nights. But come, I'll take you to him.
Maybe we can put a little bit of a smile on his face.
Open the gates! Can't you see? Prince Haliantar, Orland's son, has come home. And the sun now adjusted in your eyes. You see large wooden palisades being opened in front of you all, out of just a few feet from the stone openings. And a path leads outward into a small valley, the mountain ranges here. And all along the mountain sides, you see a flurry of activity, of homes and buildings and structures built out of the rock itself. You see small herds of animals being kept in pens in the valley floor below. A few trees here and there as well. Welcome to Folkmotburg.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Storm Chasers. After days upon days of journeying along the icy tundra, you have made it here to Folkmotburg. You're all being led along paths up and down the mountainside as you pass by various homes and structures built into the rock itself. You see people tanning hides, drying meats, going about their daily life. Whispered talks fall silent as you walk by. You see many familiar faces.
I think as Hal walks through and he recognizes faces, even faces that were young since he's been gone, that have grown into age, he would move forward and as a show of, at least to him, good faith that he's brought these strangers. And the party probably sees many different faces, diverse faces. He would greet young men and old men with the Beastmaster handshake, and he would embrace the women. The women here are strong and hardy, and they're fighters just like the men are. And just as he's walking in, they see the look on their faces where they're like, wow, this, is that real? Is that a real person? Now would reassure them and come up and give them a hug or a handshake, or they'd hold their foreheads close together, and he would say something akin to Tempest, bless this land and bless this family, and he would move on to the next. And so it would take us a little while to get there, as he would try to, as best he could, greet as many people as he could, just to make sure that they realize, yes, this person's back, but more importantly, he's here with these people who he now considers family.
And Belladin, you sensed the tension in the air among the people when you first arrived, even before they saw your group. Just an air of anxiety permeating this place. But as Hal goes through and makes his greetings, and word spreads, not only of strangers, but of Hal's return, you get a sense of happiness and joy, excitement being created. And as Hal greets each person in face, the one thing that connects them is their hardiness, their sturdiness. They look as tough as the rock in which they make their homes. If some of you are expecting to see men and women of Hal's countenance, I think you'd be surprised, as they are diverse. And not just in features. You see dwarves, you see halflings, you see gnomes, even some half-orcs, the occasional half-elf even. But majoritarily, you would see humans, dwarves, and halflings, all mingling.
I think as we start making our way up, Hal falls back to where Belladin is walking amongst the group, and he'll fall in line with them, and continue to nod or wave or greet people as they pass by, as they get closer to the council, the council house, and he'll walk next to Belladin and he'll say, "I know you've come a long way from the south. Does any of this place look like home or look familiar to you at all?"
I mean, it's very different from my home, but I don't remember my time. I mean, I think I was an infant or a toddler when I was entrusted to the tribe, so I don't remember anything except for the swamps. The place does, I wouldn't say feel familiar, but you're having quite the effect. There was a tension here when we arrived, and now it seems you're putting the people at ease. You bring hope with you, so that's a good sign. There's nothing familiar here for me, no. And you watch as he reaches up to his staff and he shakes the snow off the top of the staff. And I don't talk about it often because it's just something I carry all the time. But even though it's a wooden staff, at the top there are leaves that are growing, and the leaves would reach a certain size and then fall off of the staff over time. It's not every single day, but over weeks this would happen. It's It's a staff that is still a living plant because of its magic. And he like shakes the snow, which he put on as a way to, because he was casting Pass Without a Trace every hour to make sure that we weren't ambushed again. And to help with that, he had put snow around the leaves and kind of compacted it down so it wouldn't be visible. So I imagine seeing greenery here, even in this valley, middle of the tundra, would be a very weird sight for the people that live here.
Especially during this time.
Yeah, yeah. And should also maybe have an effect on Hal himself, just as a reminder of like this druid is from a completely different part of the world, even though I do very much look like his Hal's uncle.
You're right, Belladin. You're right. This prophecy speaks of hope. I bring hope. I bring my companions, my friends, my new family far away from their homes. So you're right. I do bring hope. I bring you and Benthwick. Well, we'll see what my uncle has to say. But it seems like it's a bit of a dire time if what you say is true. But let's make the most of it. I mean, let's meet with the council, see what they have to say, and then let's drink some of Fenthwick's horn, if there's any left.
All right, okay. You're much bigger than Fenthwick, but I do want to remind you that he was poisoned just by smelling whatever is in that horn.
That's what I mean. We should drink whatever's in that horn.
Oh, all right.
I think I would build it on the shoulder, where they stand pretty close from a height standpoint, but give them a good hearty smack, and then move to back to behind the person who's leading them up as they make their way up towards I don't know what it would be called, the council house or the long house, or...
You know them well from following your father to them as a boy, sitting outside as you were not allowed inside, as you had not had your coming of age ceremony yet. Sigmund turns towards you. They've been in there for almost the whole week now. No one knows what to do, Hal.
We'll figure it out. I've been gone for a long time, and my uncle sent the sacred rock, the Arctic rock, to come find us, and this one here, who, hell, almost looks exactly like him, was the first to spot him, so see what they have to say. I mean, what's the worst that can happen?
If you had not told me yourself, I could have sworn they suckled on the same teeth.
It might be the same, but it might be different generations of the same. Who knows?
It's good to have you back.
It's good to see you.
You've gotten some sun. I almost didn't recognize you.
Does your lady still cook that really hearty stew? Maybe, while we're here, we can... Anyways, I need to put on a few pounds.
I'll tell Ingrid to go slaughter a yak. We'll feast tonight.
That sounds like a good time. I'll pat him on the shoulder and grip his arm. And then he'll make his way to the council chamber and dramatically push the doors open or pull them open.
And as the doors creak open, you hear shouts. Not shouts, but raised voices. A heated debate. And what can we do? What do you propose, Alwyn? How can we face such foes? And the doors swing open fully. The cold air rushes in. Heads turn towards the entrance. And you all see 8 elders on 8 rock-hewn, almost, I wouldn't say thrones, but they are seats in a circle around a large fire. Once again, you see humans, dwarves, halflings, and an old man sits quiet, contemplating, looks up. Belladin, he does look very similar to you.
Oh no. I was worried this whole time. Shit. As the doors open and everyone looks at Hal, while their attention is away, I'm gonna do a little sporadic druid craft to pick up like the snow, because it's a harmless effect, right? So I'm gonna get some of the snow and the wind from outside of this building and bring it up behind Hal to like herald him entering the room, as if the very weather is following him in, the prince returning.
And as the snow and wind picks up behind you, Hal, you see your uncle, eyes light up as he sees you. How would we face them, Hulada? Why don't we ask my nephew, Prince Haliantar? You have been gone a long time.
And I think Hal strides forward to where he's near the circle of the council members, and he will smile and then hold his hands out wide, and he'll say, just though it means a little bit more in this area, overseer or the sage or the wise one. And he'll walk forward and he'll cup his hands on his ears, where the thumbs are in front of his ears and the rest of his fingers are behind his head, and he'll like hold their foreheads together and then give him a quick kiss on each cheek, and he'll greet each of the council members in the same way without saying much. And then once he's greeted everybody, he will turn and look back to his uncle and say, I'm home, and at least feel that I have fulfilled what you sent me south for. I bring forth friends and family and beings from the south. And he will start to introduce them, starting with Poppy, and give them a little bit of background around, what Poppy is like and what she is good at and how close they are. And then he'll go move on to Fenthwick and talk about his arcane prowess, and then move on to Corvain and talk about his unarmed fighting style and where he was from. Go into a little bit of story about the monastery and how he's seen other people who do fight like him but aren't as strong as him. I think he'll even introduce Marisol first and introduce him as his beloved and his fiancée to be wed and continue the growth of the family. And then he'll stop with Belladin and give a double take from one to the other, like almost they're both. And then he'll introduce Belladin as a person from the pools. They're called I forget off the top of my head, but a person from the south, but kind of give them a side eye between each one and introduce them, and finally just ask what's the latest news. And we ran into one of Baxia's scouting groups, and they said the Lowlanders taking the Giants as conscripts or something like that. We were slaves ourselves. We don't do that.
Have you been gone that long, boy? Of course we do not. But the North is under a terrible yoke. The Crystal Blade has subjugated all other clans with the backing of a mysterious, terrible power. They bring terror throughout Froheim to all peoples, big and small. Froheim is not a safe place, is what we've been discussing. And he gestures towards Hulada, who took over the duties of war chief upon your father's death, and for you to assume the rights and take your place eventually. But he has been war chief in interim. We've always faced hardship, whether from the foul raiders from Trelleborg, the slavers of Samal, to the Crystal Blade. But this terror, thought they were myth. I thought they were myth. And they all grow silent.
You speak of the dragons. Dragonborn.
Aye, Dragonborn. These creatures bring death from above, but I fear it's worse than that. They've been taking people. We dare not walk the open tundra unless in large warbands now. But even that we have not risked for weeks. That is what your encounter with the Frost Giant is about, I'm guessing. For even they in Trelleborg are not immune to this terror.
I know we just arrived, but do you have any scouts going out 2 days from now, or any news due to arrive back?
We have not risked it.
I'd love to spend some time and meet old friends, introduce new ones. I'm not sure we have the time. It's good to see you. It's good to see you. And it's good to see what you've done. How this place is still standing. I didn't know if it would be when I finally made my way back here.
I am not your father, Helianthar, Orlin's son, but I am still a Northern Watcher.
Hal will make a unfamiliar to the group, which is typical greeting, almost like a thieves' cant of the Northern Watchers, but not as couldn't hold a conversation. It's more kind of a greeting of the Brotherhood. give him a slight nod.
And at that, your uncle, Ormir, that might not be entirely true, Hula. There may be some word coming back to us soon. And the rest of them just kind of shake their heads. I thought we agreed, Ormir. We need information, Ostara. But come, boy. I guess I cannot call you boy anymore, huh? Come, Haliantar. You have journeyed the tundra. You come from the south. What news do you bring?
The news is not good. Even the cold of this outlands reach far to the south. These dragons, these drow, the Brotherhood Albino, look to bring these fiends, man. They look to bring these fiends back. We have to venture into their stronghold, into their headquarters, into whatever place they call home. Kill this disease where it incubates from, where it grows from. Can't do that immediately. We gotta find a place for our friends and family and learn as much as we can. I can only give you the information that I've collected over the last 6 months / 4.5 years. And he'll just kind of retell the tale of meeting this group and as it relates more and more to Crystal Blades and the dragons and Dragonborn that they've seen over, the last yearish or so.
Enix. So now we have a name behind the power. He is the one that is behind the Kurs, you say?
At least we think so.
Drow, you said. I'm confused. I thought last our scouts had told us is that the orcs and their dragons were assaulting the Drow underneath the spine.
That may be the case, but there are two brothers cast out from the Saren, and he'll snap his finger and look at Pentwick. His brother done some unholy rites or unholy ritual. Perhaps they are taking the war to the Drow, but they are leading this band, or at least as far as they're close to being aligned with the Crystal Blade. We might find ourselves on the same sides of.
That would be an interesting turn of events. But the enemy of our enemy is our friend, right? I mean, if the tales are true, that's how the Watchers came to be.
As far as I know, yes.
And at this, another council member, female dwarf, you know as Lorelei. But that still does not answer Hulada's question. How are we to face these foes? We do not have the power here at Folkmontborg.
If we, my friends and I, my family and I, can get information from the scouts or let us know where the activity's been taking place, then we will go and we will seek more answers.
Afraid the time might not be that long, Haliantar. Once the Drow fall, the rest of Frorheim will be quick to follow. The north is scattered, but if we were united, if we had the power of the Watchers, we might stand a chance. And at this, you see another halfling, elderly man, Hildegard, shake his head. Ormir, Blekir Verda has been lost to time. We have no hope of finding the standard, of raising the Watchers. Then we have no hope at all, Hildegard, as he looks towards you, Hal. It has been a long day of debate here, and a long journey for my nephew and his friends, and my niece, as he gives a big smile over to Marisol. I'm sure you are weary from your journeys, and we'll have no answers tonight at least. Let us break this council and feast my nephew's return. They all give you all greetings and usher out of the chamber, and you're left alone with Ormir.
We can reunite the North, Uncle. That's what we do. We overcome the worst of what has happened. You and I, we were there when my father was slain. Please, there has to be more information. Where do I find the standard?
Hildegard was not wrong. Blekir Verda, our stronghold, our true home, our fortress, has been lost to generations. Many of our kin, our forefathers, have journeyed and died looking for it in vain. Perhaps it is a lost cause. I know not. It might be possible to unite the North without the standard,
Where do we
each
start?
faction, but that will take time. If we had the standard, bring them all under one banner. There is one possibility, Haliantar. If it's knowledge we seek, we must look to our ancestors, our history. Where did our forefathers seek guidance? Where were they guided when the Northern Watchers were formed? Is where we would seek our answers, nephew.
Then we set out in 2 days' time.
Do you not remember your history, boy?
I've been gone in the south for some time learning more history, Uncle. It's been a long time since I have really lived the customs of the people of the north. Maybe you can give me a refresher over, say, some roasted yak, tall pints of mead at Sigmund's place.
Ingrid makes good yak stew. Maybe then I can tell you once more of the tales of the Oracle of the White Grove and how the Northern Watchers came to be.
Are you guys hungry? As he looks to his party. And also, where are my quarters? Been some time.
Come, we'll feast on yak, and I'll have your abode made ready. And you all gather, and it's not so much a formal feast as it is a large communal gathering, informal gathering of many people going from house to house at different times, sharing what they have, sharing what drink they have, and then leaving or going to another house. And you start at the house of Sigmund and Ingrid, and there are many people who come and visit you, and you go and visit many more, as everyone wants to come and greet the returning son. And during the night, once more, your uncle takes you aside, Hal. The council is not wrong. These are desperate times. As I said, you could try to appeal to each faction to see if they would join our cause. To the Bjorn, to the rogues of Samal even, to those roving Goliaths of Frelsig Drenger, even to those bastard giants in Trelleborg. I don't know how long it would take and how successful you would be. Word has even come that there are renegade orcs who would not join under Kerr's banner, near the Soulless Cliffs. You could seek out the standard of the Stray. Rise up, the Northern Watchers once more. Bring forth Blekirvarda, and the North will never fall.
I think we both know that journey begins our best opportunity.
I do not envy you. I am not the heir. I'm but an old man with waning powers. The choice is yours, but you need not make it tonight.
Very well. We will meet 2 days' time, meet with my companions, and we will enjoy the evening, good food, and even better drink, or at least stronger drink. We will decide where we need to start. It is good to see you.
It's good to have you back, nephew.
Al proceeds to go to Shittown.
And you all, eventually, the kind of informal gathering turns into a raucous party and celebration as the mead continues to flow. And some of you may or may not get a long rest, but the night passes. And you are led to your family's dwellings here, Hal, connected to your uncle's. It's still a bit dusty as they have not been occupied for a while. And the bittersweet twinge of memories of long past, of your father and mother, and your childhood here. But you were all gathered together, and you have a moment.
I think I look to the group, Hal looked at the group and say, we have a few options. We search for the standard and we seek counsel from the Oracle of the White Grove, or we go to place, town to town, city to city to see if we can find more strays to come to our banner, but our best bet is find the standard and reunite the wandering tribe, the people of the north. You guys have come this far. I'm not sure how much you like the snow. What do you guys think?
What is this standard?
A symbol of the Northern Watchers, a war banner, as it were. The good folk of the North would rally underneath the standard, form an army of different factions across the north stand against whatever current evil invades the place. Orcs, orc bands, orc war parties. I think it's more than just orcs now.
And you would know how they was initially formed actually to fight the drow.
It's up to you. I don't want to. When you come this far, hell. I mean, I'm home.
Well, where do you think this standard is? Is it just lost, or is its location known?
We don't know for sure, but I think we have a good idea of where it last was. And that was the Frozen Grove.
Oh, man, you're gonna have to say at least one word that's on this map, man. I keep looking for the words y'all saying, and none of them exist.
I'm sorry. Apologies. It is the Daggermork east of here. East, south, east, southeast. However you say it. The spiritual center of everything here in the north. Came to ruin during formation of the Northern Watchers. Kind of a byproduct of that war. I haven't been there in some time, but, well, I've never been there, to be quite frank with you. Some say it's haunted. Some say it is dead. Some say it is cursed. But we would probably find answers there. For good or ill, accompany me, but the rest of you would come to see if we could find answers, or at least where the standard last stood.
What? No, I'm going with you. I can't be left behind. What if something happens to you?
What if something happens to our child?
We weren't ready to tell them yet.
The next king of the north has to be born here in...
You puts her hands on her stomach. Understand. But do you have to go to this grove? There's no other way?
We will seek counsel and wisdom from our friends here, my uncle, counsel. It won't grow easy here. It will only grow more difficult. We will need to learn the ways of the north until such time that the new king is born, and taken from us and learned from us and learn the ways and the rituals of the north. Perhaps then you and I can spend more time on the road, adventuring, having orcs hit us with their wrapped hammers and sickles, and we can fight alongside each other. Until then, we will remain here, and Stormchaser will.
Well, Prince Helianthar, you better come back to me, or no standard or army or weapon of this world will keep my wrath from you if you don't. And she's fighting back tears.
That's the plan. Right.
There's a rap on the door, and you hear a voice. My prince, you are summoned to council.